What other considerations should people think about when they're opening or they're choosing their entity?
Glad you asked this question. One of the biggest things that people should think about is what is going to be the name of my entity and what is going to be the state that I set up my entity in. If you're working in a 1099 capacity, you're self-employed, you're most likely going to have that entity set up in the state in which you operate in, and that's completely fine. I'd highly recommend that you don't associate that entity to your primary residence address. Many business owners go right online and they go to GoDaddy.com. They get their website set up. They set up their LLC on, LegalZoom.com. They create the address associated to them, and then they go pay for a registered agent. And then boom, your information is public information. The moment I become an upset client with you, whether you're a doctor, physician selling me t-shirts and the tie-dye off of the t-shirt got on my beautiful skin, I can go online and find your LLC, where it's associated to, take your address, type it into Google, and now I can find information on who you are and where you live. Listen, one of the scariest things that my clients hate is when we see that their LLCs are associated to their home address, we immediately address it on the first call with them. We pull open Google Earth and we're zoomed in on their primary bed. We're zoomed in on their primary bedroom, and we're telling them, is this what you want us to see and what you want your clients to be able to see? Absolutely not. How can we protect you? Because business is a marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Wow.
And in order for us to stay protected, you have to be protected from the IRS. You have to be protected from creditors. Creditors are almost worse than the IRS sometimes. Lawsuits can almost punish you way more than the IRS can punish you. So can we structure you in a way to where your personal information is protected? So we end up amending their operating agreement, amending their articles of organization, getting them a virtual address. So that way their public information, their children's bedroom, and the Google screenshots that were taken of their vehicle sitting inside their driveway is not information the world can now see. So where you associate that LLC is so important.
But what about people that want even more privacy and they set it up in Delaware or in Wyoming?
Yeah, this is when we talk about entity layering. So one of the beautiful things about having an entity is you can have an entity that owns another entity. So if I'm operating my business here in California, well, California doesn't really have anonymity laws. So maybe I decide to set up an entity in California that's owned by a parent company in a state like Wyoming. You might ask, well, Karlton, why would you go to Wyoming? Well, Wyoming has different laws than California. Of such, one of the beautiful laws of Wyoming is Wyoming does not require managing members' names to be at the public or county assessor's office. Meaning if someone looks up my entity in the state of Wyoming, they're just going to see the registered agent and the name of the entity, but you're not going to see the manager's names, the members' names, or the fact that that entity owns a California entity. So for many taxpayers who use states like Wyoming, Delaware, Nevada, they might be able to fly underneath the radar because of those states' discretionary position.
It's just for liability.
Just for liability.
Yeah. And you mentioned an alphabet soup. It reminded me of QSBS, which has also changed recently.
Yeah.
So if you are an entrepreneur and you're starting to do really well and you're thinking about potentially exiting your business, why should you think about QSBS and why should you think about it early?
QSBS is pretty cool because if you retain your stock ownership over the course of 5 years and you're structured as a C corporation, you can avoid capital gains when you have an asset sale or a stock sale and you're exiting out of your business up to 40 million. And for some taxpayers, they might even be able to get a multiple on that up to 75 million under certain circumstances. Why is that powerful? I mean, prior to the One Big Beautiful bill, it was closer to about 20 million, 15 to 20 million. So for many business owners that were selling their businesses for, $100 million, they're experiencing $80 million just hitting them all at once. I mean, that means the government's going to walk away right away with $30 million. Well, this just helped out many taxpayers. That just put an extra 20 to 25 million right back in their pocket, right? So if you're somebody that's considering selling your business in the next 5 years, one of the things that you can look at doing is what does it look like for you to transition from an LLC or an S corporation over into a C corporation? What is it going to look like for you to start paying yourself dividends or giving yourself a salary out of a C corp versus taking distributions out of an S corp? Because when you do transition to a C corp, you will sacrifice some things. You will sacrifice the easeability of just being able to transfer money from your checking account over to your personal checking account. You can't do that with the C corporation because every time you touch the money, it's a taxable event. But if the long-term vision is I'm going to sell this for a multiple, well, maybe you make that sacrifice right now and you go to a C Corp right now, knowing that the QSBS is there to help you. This is just another incentive in the tax code that's written there to help you.